Hello, Village Agents, and welcome to another Mindset Monday. Today is January 25th, 2021, and the topic today is how to keep in touch with your past clients. Now, in 2007, I had a client buy a $450,000 condo in the Adelicia high-rise. The transaction was smooth, and he was happy. Fast forward 3 years to 2010, when we were well into the recession, probably the worst of it, which was in 2010. I'd heard he was getting serious with his girlfriend, and if they were to get engaged, I knew that a life change of that magnitude would almost certainly trigger a real estate decision, and that he'd probably want to sell his condo and buy something larger for the two of them. Now, as a real estate agent, I know the highest and best use of my time when it comes to generating new business is keeping in touch with my sphere and paying attention to their potential life changes. Because those major life changes so often create a real estate transaction. And that's how we generate income in a real estate transaction. I know the importance of keeping in touch now, and I knew it back then too. That said, knowing that I needed to keep in touch wasn't the problem. I knew in my mind and from my experience that if I reached out to him and provided genuine and authentic engagement and value, I would likely have no problem being his number one choice to be his real estate agent when the time came for him to start searching for a new place with his soon-to-be fiance. The problem I ran into is that I was paralyzed by fear. So many thoughts went through my head. If I called him, what would I do if he asked me my opinion of an estimated sales price for his condo? What would I do if I gave him an accurate answer and told him that I thought it would sell for less than he paid for it 3 years earlier? Would he think I didn't represent him well in the purchase back in 2007? Would I be putting myself in a position just to feel bad about myself? Self-doubt took over. I knew logically that at the time he purchased, the market was strong, and I knew that I'd advised him the best way I knew how with the information we both had. But logic wasn't controlling me now. My emotions were. I even ran into him that summer, and he said, "We should catch up." He even told me himself that he might be getting engaged soon, and that we might want to start looking for a bigger place with his girlfriend. He told me this himself. Now, around the very same time in 2010, over 600 miles away, my sister-in-law, whose name is Sarah, was getting more serious in a love relationship of her own, and that was giving her the opportunity to sell her condo in Washington, D.C. and move to North Carolina. While we were together over the holidays, she told me that she'd hired an agent who listed her condo and that she'd contracted it with a buyer after a couple of months of showings. Leading with curiosity, as I often do, or possibly looking to alleviate my own fear, I asked Sarah to walk me through her process of choosing an agent to list and sell her condo. I knew that she too had bought her condo at the height of the Washington, D.C. market, which was about 6 years earlier, and I figured she was likely selling it at the same price or less than what she bought it for. When I asked Sarah this, she gave me a puzzled look and told me in an obvious tone, it was the same agent that helped me buy it 6 years ago. I let her know that the NAR statistics show that year after year, when asked at the closing table of their purchase, 88% of home buyers say that they would definitely or probably use their real estate agent again when it came time to sell, but that actually only 12% do. I let my sister-in-law Sarah know that her agent was defying the overwhelming odds, so assuming there must be more to the story that she wasn't telling me, I asked her some follow-up questions. Was this agent a friend? No. Was this agent her neighbor? Nope. Did this agent sell a lot of other condos in her building or neighborhood? No, at least not that she had ever noticed. Did this agent call her all the time, shower her with gifts, go to church with her, give her a discount, or have any sort of connection with her other than being her prior agent? No, and no. Perplexed, I asked her, what then did your agent do to stay top of mind in your head and heart, so much so that you chose to work with her a second time, defying the statistical odds? She paused for a moment and then said, "You know what she did, Zach? And this is the only thing I can think of. Every year on the anniversary of my purchase with her, she wrote me a handwritten note that said, 'Dear Sarah, I can't believe it's been 2 years, 3 years, 4 years since we worked together to buy your first home. I remember the joy on your face when we walked in and saw it together for the first time. I hope you still experience that same joy every day in that special home. If there's ever anything I can help you with in the future, please know I'm only a phone call away.'" 6 notes, 6 stamps over 6 years, and probably 15 minutes of total time invested. That's all it took for this agent to defy the odds and earn Sarah's repeat business. That 15-minute investment that agent made probably translated into a $15,000 opportunity. So, back to the story of my past client in Nashville, the one I was fearful of calling. I knew he was in a relationship, and even after running into him when he told me he might consider moving and that we ought to catch up sometime, rather than pulling out my phone and calendar at that moment to book an appointment, I let fear get the best of me. I figured maybe he would just learn from the news that the market wasn't good and would want to wait, and then I wouldn't have to be the one to give him the bad news. So, after hemming and hawing on it for a few months, I threw some proverbial cold water on my face and finally told myself I needed to get my act together and give him a call. Before dialing his number, I figured I just ought to check just to make sure he hadn't sold or listed his condo. So when logging on to RealTracs, you can probably guess how this ends. I looked up his address and discovered that he had indeed just listed his condo with another agent. And to put icing on the cake, it was already pending. Damn. That was over $1 million worth of transactions between the listing and the property he bought with his girlfriend that I watched disappear. Now you may be thinking to yourself, Zach, how could you have done that? He told you he might be moving and even suggested you two get together to talk about it. Fear. Fear gets the best of us, and that's why those NAR stats are so abysmal. The majority of agents succumb to fear of some kind or another. We sometimes call it being lazy, but it's not being lazy. It's really fear. Fear of not doing something perfectly, or fear of spending time on something that will benefit us in the future at the cost of doing something that will benefit us now. Or it might be showing up as fear of someone not remembering us because we've lost the relationship or let it slide too far for too long. Or fear of, you can fill in the blank. One expression I learned in 2020 that has resonated a lot applies to my story here. The expression is this: if you're feeling it, they're feeling it. I'm going to say that again. If you're feeling it, they're feeling it. Stop for a minute and say that out loud with me. If I'm feeling it, they're feeling it. Fear holds us back. But fear is just the absence of love. Those are two stories with two very similar situations and two very different outcomes. I hear agents say all the time, yeah, I don't want to come across as being salesy. Showing others that you care, showing genuine and authentic interest in their life, is the opposite of being salesy. It's being kind and loving, and it's being a professional. So this week, I challenge you to repeat this mantra every morning. If I'm feeling it, they're feeling it. I want you to write down a list of names of people that have been on your mind to call, or write, or connect with somehow. Start today. Even if it's just a text, just to tell them they were on your mind and you realized how long it's been since you connected. And you just wanted to let them know you were thinking about them. If you're feeling it, they're feeling it. Let me know how it goes.